2 games and 20 runs in game 1 of this doubleheader. Devin Mesoraco chimes in with a 3-run home run to get the Reds early, a 4-1 lead. Joey Votto clubs his 16th home run. And how about the story for Zach Cozart? 4 hits on the day, including this home run as Cozart, Votto, and Mesoraco lead the Reds to a 9-3 win in game 1 of this doubleheader at AT&T Park in San Francisco. Live from the Bay Area, Fox Sports Ohio brings you Cincinnati Reds baseball. Tonight, game 2 of this doubleheader. Even though we're in San Francisco, the Reds will be the home team for game 2 of the Twin Killing. Next on Fox Sports Ohio. Hi, hello, and welcome to San Francisco, everybody. Along with the crafty left-hander Chris Welch, I'm George Grand. Reds ready to go to work in game 2 after what a game 1, Chris.
Well, you're not kidding about that, George. You know, you put a lot of runs on the board, you take the suspense and the drama away, and it's exactly what the Reds did, starting with 4 runs in the second inning, 3 more in the third inning. So you hope they get that kind of offensive production again. Not likely to happen, though. This is back-to-back games where the Reds have more than 15 hits. They had 17 last night. You hope, though, that in support of Greg Reynolds, a young man making his debut with the Reds, they're able to put some kind of offense on the board to maybe give him a little breathing room. He has certainly earned his way to the major leagues this year, signed as a 6-year minor league free agent. He was 10-2 down in AAA at Louisville. His earned run average 2.5. He was a player of the week early June. This guy, 6 feet 7 inches tall, not overpowering, but he's going to keep the ball in the strike zone and keep it down, hopefully, and get a lot of ground balls.
Well, he'll go for the Reds, and he comes from Pacifica, California, just outside of San Francisco. A whole bunch of family and friends here. He went to Stanford. Barry Zito, also a West Coaster. Chris, it's the younger right-hander against the veteran Zito.
Well, Zito's a guy that has really struggled the last couple of years. He's only got, 6 or 7 quality starts out of his starts already this year. However, he has been a big game pitcher in the past. He's pitched some pretty good baseball from time to time against the Reds, and we'll see what he does this afternoon.
Yes, it is a home game for the Reds. Coming up, can they keep the offense going? It's the Reds in white for game 2 of this Twin Killing next on Fox Sports Ohio. Sports Ohio is being brought to you by the Ford F-Series trucks, the best-selling truck in America 36 straight years. By Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Book your stay at CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Hey, feeling good. It's Skyline time. Reds have been feeling pretty good so far on the first leg of this three-city West Coast road trip. They've taken the first two games of this series, the first of the doubleheader. And we're ready for game two as Dusty Baker and the Reds. And a picture-perfect night for baseball. Temperatures in the lower 60s to start play tonight. The Reds win game number one 9-3 after winning 11-0 last night. And we're ready to go for game number two. And Chris, it's Greg Reynolds who'll get the start. We talked about him. Hope you had a chance to see our interview with him. And you're right. You don't correct your sets. The Reds are in their whites, red jerseys, white pants, as the Reds will bat second in this home game for Cincinnati, even though it's here in San Francisco, as the Reds make up their rained out game from the 4th of July in Cincinnati.
Greg Reynolds gets his first major league start in about 2 years. Originally came up with the Colorado Rockies, drafted in the first round, second player taken in the 2006 draft by the Rockies. But he's had a very good year so far down in AAA, and that's a big sigh of relief as he gets the first out of this ball game. You know, as odd as it is to see the Reds on TV wearing white from AT&T Park, it must be even more surreal for those fans here at AT&T Park, because when the Reds took the field, there was a round amount of boos going on because they just not used to seeing their own Giants in gray, and the visiting team coming in here wearing whites and of course red tops, a traditional Sunday afternoon uniform that the Reds like to wear.
Here's Tony Abreu, who will start at second after Blanco bounces out to Votto for the first out. Your home plate umpire is Phil Cuzzy, who had the first game off. Chris Guccione is down at first. Ron Culpa is at second, and Quinn Wolcott, the replacement umpire, is your third base umpire for game two of this twin killing. Abreu came in the first game of the doubleheader as a late replacement at second for Marco Scutaro. So far so good for the Reds. 11 runs last night, 9 runs in the first game of this doubleheader, and they're hoping Reynolds can keep it going. By his own admission, Greg is saying he's a different pitcher than he was when he made a name for himself in the late stages of the 2000 decade as a great pitcher at Stanford. He was one of the odds-on favorites to win the Golden Spikes Award, symbolic as the best amateur pitcher in America. He was a four-seam high fastball pitcher back then, with a fastball that zipped into the upper 90s. After elbow and shoulder difficulties, he's changed. Corky Miller is his catcher down at AAA, and Corky Miller is his catcher here tonight, Chris. A rocket shot past Phillips into right. That's a base hit. So Abreu is on with the first hit of the night in game two for the Giants. Here's your Ford defensive alignment for Cincinnati. In the infield, you'll see over at third Jack Hanahan with Frazier moving to left. Isturis gets the start at short. Phillips at second. Votto over at first. Corky Miller catches Reynolds. Frazier, Chu, and Bruce in the outfield. The Reds defensively had an errorless game one. They're third in the league with defense going into tonight's encounter. So 1 out, 1 on, and here's Buster Posey. Posey played first in game one of the series of the doubleheader. Buster lined out, bounced out, struck out before taking the rest of game one off. Short lead for Abreu down at first.
You know, the stuff that Greg Reynolds will throw at the Giants tonight is going to remind you a lot more of Mike Leake than anything else. He sinks the ball a lot. He changes speeds. He uses a curveball an awful lot, and he throws it out of a 6 feet 7 inch frame, and that's where the deception is. That's good action right there on that fastball. I mean, it goes to the plate and goes just about straight down. A guy that, as you said, George, his fastball is nowhere near what it was coming out of college at Stanford. I mean, you don't become the second round or second pick in the entire draft when you're throwing only 90 miles an hour. They want guys that are throwing 99 miles an hour.
No
but he may be a better pitcher now than he was then.
0-2 to Posey. That's wide.
For a big guy, he's got somewhat of a compact motion. Pretty quick with a runner at first base. High arm delivery, high 3/4, what you'd call it, and that's more of a sinker ball delivery right there than that of a power pitcher.
Brayer short lead off first. Here's the 1-2 delivery. Runner not going. Pitch just gets Posey in the hip, so Buster will head down to first. So Posey gets plunked. 2 on, 1 out, and here comes Sandoval.
You're just trying to run that fastball in, and you can see the movement on it. It looks like it gets him on the arm right there. Or maybe it's the leg. I guess it got below the arm and got him on the leg. No harm done to Posey, and Greg Reynolds is going to have to figure out a way to get out of this inning here.
Corky Miller, talking about Reynolds and their work down at AAA, said the one thing he's been able to do is not panic and get out of trouble when he gets in it. So he'll be tested here in the first already. He said he's probably got about 40 family and friends. He grew up just north of here from Pacifica, California. This one lined towards the alley. That's going to get down, and 2 hops to the wall. 1 run will score. Here comes Posey around third. He'll come to the plate. The throw won't be in time, and the Giants take a 2-0 lead. Well, Pablo Sandoval delivers his 45th and 46 runs batted in. And the Giants take an early 2-0 lead.
Finally, after 2 ball games plus, the Giants fans have something to shout about here at their own ballpark. First time they've had a lead. First time they've been able to get up off of their seats and actually cheer their offense. The Kung Fu Panda slices one in the left center field, and that drives in 2.
So Sandoval rolls into second. Still only 1 out in the inning. He's in scoring position, and here comes Hunter Pence. Sandoval had the first run batted in the first inning for the Giants in game 1. A sacrifice fly in the first. He walked, flied out, and lined out. Pence had a couple of singles and a 2-for-4 outing in game 1 of the doubleheader. Overall, he's in at 266 with 14 homers and 49 knocked in. Fastball in there at 90 miles an hour for a strike, 1-1. Miller sets for the sign. In the dirt, Corky smothers it and keeps it in front.
For a guy like Greg Reynolds, who's worked so hard to get back to the major leagues, this first inning is one that he would just love to be able to get back into that dugout and control the damage done. You know, he's got to feel some extra pressure, feeling, you know, getting his first major league start in a couple of years, right back really in his hometown, got family and friends here. That's the kind of thing that wears a little extra on you and maybe makes you try to do it a little bit more than you really can.
He said his emotion won't be much different than that major league debut for Colorado back in 2008.
Well, you know, when he made that, though, he probably thought he'd be in the big leagues for the next 15 years. Because all rookies think that. But then you have a setback or two. You get sent out to the minor leagues. Then you become a released minor leaguer. And you realize that those shots are very precious.
Slap backing out of play.
And I imagine that he'll still have a lot of emotions like he did back when he made his debut for the Rockies. But he may even appreciate it more right now.
Remember your first appearance in Cincinnati when you came home for the home folks?
Absolutely do. I couldn't wait to get out of that first inning.
Mom, Dad, everybody else at the ballpark. 2-2. That's blooped into center. It's a base hit. Sandoval had to hold, but now he'll race around third and he'll score. That'll make it 3-0 Giants.
Yeah, it looks like Reynolds made a pretty good pitch right there, but got a bad result. A jam shot by Hunter Pence is able to find some green space, and as soon as it drops in there, the outfielders here have to play so deep. And Pence is just able to work that little breaking ball into shallow right center field and drive Pablo Sandoval in.
Now the Giants, whose offense has been comatose the last 2 games, take an early 3-0 lead, and here's the first baseman Brandon Belt. Belt at 267, 10 homers, 38 knocked in. Pence down at first. He's stolen 14, has not been thrown out yet this year. Belt not 25. A native of Texas. The first baseman here in game 2 after Posey played first in the first game of the doubleheader. Two and 0. Already completed. Pirates have won today at Washington. The Cardinals are leading the Phillies 4-1 in the 8th inning in St. Louis. Belt steps out, takes a look at Tim Flannery, his third base coach, who rolls through signs. Roberto Kelly, as usual, in the first base coach's box for the Giants. Heading to count 2-1. A little bit bigger lead for Pence down at first. Not going. That's a strike. 2-2.
He's got a little comeback action on that fastball, and that's what they're trying to do right here, is throw that ball inside, and Belt read it as a ball, and you see that little front door fastball action where he'll get a lot of ground balls when he throws that down and away. He'll get a lot of takes when he throws it inside.
2-2. That's dribbled down to second. Over to second for one, on to first, not in time. Well, the Reds get a forced play at second. Hey, by the way, a reminder for you, tonight's Ohio Lottery Mega Millions jackpot worth $13 million. Drawing coming up in only 10 minutes, so get your tickets. Drawing is at 11 o'clock tonight back home. 13 million. It'll look nice in your pocket, Christopher.
My pockets aren't big enough for that.
Two-away runner on. Here's Frank Coor. Starts the game in left. Started game 1 in left field as well. And at 213, 3 homers, 14 knocked in. In the first game, had 1 hit and 4 plate appearances. Frank Coor, designated for assignment by Kansas City, picked up by the Giants. Hopefully to add a little home run power to a club that struggled for long ball. The Giants really, since the exit of Barry Bonds, have not been a home run hitting club. They've relied on pitching and run production. This year they're hitting well, but their run production is 13th in the league.
Yeah, but the last few years it seems like the Giants have always been able to come up with a player that would help them offensively. A few years ago it was Cody Ross that came in here and in a late season, right before the trading deadline deal, and he just went off and really helped them. Years ago Freddie Sanchez came over here in a deal similar to that, and they're hoping that Francoeur, who was cut loose by the Royals, will fill the same thing.
They really miss Pagan, who was such a spark to their offense last year. He tore his hamstring, out for the year. An inspirational leader on this club, provide energy to the club, and provided some offense from the leadoff spot. 2 balls and a strike. Reynolds peers in for his sign. Francoeur digs in. Runner going. Swing and a miss. Throw down to second. It is perfect, but not in time. Big jump for Belt. He steals his 5th of the season.
Well, they had the kind of a lead that really was non-threatening to Greg Reynolds. So Reynolds, concentrating more on the hitter, didn't really pay much attention to Brandon Belt. That's one of those sneak attacks.
So another runner in scoring position here in the first. And it's a 2-ball, 2-strike count to Francoeur. That's dribble foul.
Yeah, Jeff Francoeur has always been the kind of hitter like to really attack the baseball. I mean, he's got a big, hard swing. He'll strike out a lot because of that. He starts his swing a little bit early. Not quite as aggressive on pitches outside the zone that he once was. But you can get him to chase if you throw it in the right spot.
Right spot anytime you haven't hit it there. Phillips takes care of it, but before it's done, 7 come to the plate in the first. The Giants score 3 and lead at 3-0. A 60-degree night in the Bay Area. George Grant, Chris Welsh, Jim Day covering Reds baseball against the Giants. Game 3 of the 4-game set. Game 2 of our doubleheader. As we head to the bottom of the first inning, Dusty Baker's lineup has Shin-Soo Choo as the leadoff hitter. Choo had his 16-game hitting streak snapped in game number 1. The Reds piled up the offense, but Choo was not one of those to chime in with one of the 15 hits. And in game 2, Cesar Asturis will bat in the number 2 spot. Joey Votto will hit third here in the first inning. Let's check Baker's starting lineup for game 2 of the twin bill. Chu, it's lefty against lefty, and you know he's had trouble against left-handers this year. Asturis, the switch hitter, bats second. Then Votto hit his 16th homer in the first game. Phillips, Bruce, Frazier. Hanahan gets the start at third with Frazier in left, and Corky Miller catches Greg Reynolds. That's Dusty Baker's starting lineup. And here's the lefty, the veteran, Barry Zito.
He's a veteran, all right. He is making start number 414 in his major league career, the 20th start for the season for Barry Zito. It's been really like a tale of 2 years for Barry Zito, and it depends on whether he pitches at home or whether he pitches on the road. He has been outstanding here at AT&T Park, and he's been not so outstanding on the road.
Chu sends this to left, hit pretty good. Back to the warning track, to the wall. It is gloved at the wall by Frank Hoore. Long run for Jeff. One step from the wall, he hauls it in. One of the better defensive outfielders of his generation.
Well, he showed his arm off in the first game. Here's the home and road split I'm talking about. I mean, you can't get any more definite than that. 4-1 at home, really good earned run average, and an 0-6 record, up around a 10 earned run average on the road. So he loves the friendly confines of AT&T Park like nobody else.
And again, a strange weather configuration tonight. Has been very calm and very mellow. If anything, the wind is blowing out on this day, whereas usually the dampness and the breeze heads in from the water. That one carried a little longer than you might expect, but Frank Hoore chased it down. Here's a switch hitter, Asturis. Loop to right, sinking, but there is Pence. He'll haul it in, 2 away. And that'll bring up Joey. Votto clubbed his 16th home run in the first game today. In this lefty-lefty matchup, Votto in his career is 4 for 20 against Zito. Over the years, Chris, we've seen both sides of Barry Zito. In his Oakland days, he was one of the most dominant pitchers in all of baseball. And you and I were here when he was chased after 1 inning of work about 4 years ago, and we thought his career might be over.
Yeah, you know, the Giants signed him to a long-term deal, and that deal is coming to an end very quickly after this year, as a matter of fact. And he's never been one to really be overpowering, even like back in 2002 when he won 23 ball games and had an earned run average of 2.7. He never threw the ball an even average of 90 miles an hour. He's always been 87, 88, but now his fastball is more like 82 or 83 miles an hour.
He's got to be perfect.
Yeah, he's kind of like a left-handed version of Bronson Arroyo without all the different arm angles and without the confidence to throw the real slow slop up there the way that Arroyo will do from time to time.
Here's the 2-2. Up and away, 3 balls, 2 strikes.
It's funny how some pitchers, when they lose their fastball, they're on the way out the door. And when Bronson Arroyo lost his fastball, he figured out a way to pitch better than ever.
Full count, 3-2, 2 away here in the bottom of the first inning in San Francisco. Ball 4. Votto will take the walk. And the Reds have a base runner with 2 away for Phillips. So Joey down at first in the first base coach's box for the Reds as usual. Billy Hatcher down at third. Mark Berry, who returned to the coaching lines in this series. So far he's been pretty successful. 11 runs in his first game at third, 9 in his second for Berry. Here's Brandon. Phillips at 266, 12 homers, 79 knocked in. Votto bluffs going, a big swing and a miss. In game number 1, Phillips was 1 for 4, a double. Giants straightened him up. 1-1. This is a doubleheader, and an old-fashioned doubleheader, not a day-night or two-admission doubleheader. So even though this park was not filled for Game 1 and not completely filled for Game 2, the Giants will still have another sellout in all probability. That's nubbed over Zito towards second. Tapping the bag will be Abreu. So the Reds get a runner, nothing to show for it. They trail it 3-0 after 1. The best rivalry in the Central. You can get view-level tickets in select seating locations to every game against the Cardinals August 2nd, 3rd, or 4th for just $15. Again, just $15 for the Redbird Series. Log on to Reds.com/FSOhio. Use promo code FSOH15 and order your view-level tickets against the Cardinals for $15 right now while supplies last. Great opportunity to help fill up the ballpark. This one hit on a line to right. Going back, looking up is Bruce. He will not catch it. It's one hop off the wall. Rounding first, going to second, and holding there is Brandon Crawford, the number 8 hitter. So Crawford a leadoff double here in the second. Now the Giants offense suddenly has awakened here in the third game of the series.
Crawford against a right-handed pitcher is a pretty good number 8 hitter. He's come a long way offensively. He's always been a very good defensive shortstop. But he goes down to get that ball into a deep part of the ballpark, and he's picked up his 18th double. So again, once again, very quickly, Greg Reynolds is going to pitch out of the stretch.
Here's Zito, takes a long look down at Flannery at third. We'll see how Bruce Bochy handles it. Hanahan is in 3 steps in front of the bag, expecting a bunt from Zito. Votto at the edge of the grass on first. And Astura is trying to hold the runner tied at second. Throwing the bunt is Zito. He'll get it down. Miller will take the out at first, and wisely so. So a sacrifice for Zito. Runner at third, 1 out. Back to the top of the order, Blanco. Well, Zito helps himself with a good bunt, and Miller did not hesitate. Breaking fast from third was Crawford as soon as the ball hit the turf, so he had no chance to get him at third. Back to the top of the order, and Blanco along with Torres, the 2 best bunters on this club, so you can't even rule that out. The Reds will bring the infield into the edge of the grass with the runner at third. On the stretch is Reynolds. Blanco bounced to first time up. Dribbled down past Roberto Kelly, the first base coach for the Giants. Flannery rolls through some signs for Blanco, tonight's center fielder. There's the former Red, longtime Yankee, Roberto Kelly.
Boy, every time I see Roberto Kelly, I think of that foul ball that he hit at Shea Stadium.
Oof.
That drilled Marty Brennaman in the back, knocked him off his chair. Joe Nuxhall proceeded with about 3 minutes of dead air because he was laughing so hard he couldn't talk. And the next day, Roberto Kelly was traded for Deion Sanders.
This one, a fly ball to right with one away. Here comes Bruce. Here comes the throw to the plate. He makes it very close and not in time. What a throw by Bruce. He made it a lot closer than anyone ever thought it would be.
I think he's being argued with right now by Corky Miller. Here comes Dusty Baker to give him a little bit of a word. It looked like that ball beat the runner. And Dusty's saying, how did he get in there? How did he not get tagged before he got to the plate if the ball beat the runner?
Here's another look.
Excellent throw by Jay Bruce. How can he be safe? Well, unless he kind of short-armed the tag right there. And
it looks like the foot got in before the tag was made up about the hip area.
That's too bad because the ball beat him there.
What a throw by Bruce. Brilliant throw from Jay. Run scores, and it's now 4-0 on the sacrifice fly. One more look. Judge for yourself. Right there, looks like the tag comes just an instant after Crawford's foot crosses the plate. So a single, a hit batter, and a double in the first, followed by a single, makes it 3-0. Here, a double, a sacrifice, and another sacrifice, a sacrifice fly, makes it 4-0 in the second for the Giants. Two balls, one strike to the second baseman, Abreu. Down to first. Votto will shovel it to Reynolds. He'll tap the bag, but damage done. Another leadoff base runner, a double, a sacrifice, and a sacrifice fly. Giants lead it 4-0. Bruce due up. later from San Francisco. Let's check your Ford defensive alignment for Bruce Bochy and the San Francisco Giants. Frank Coor back in left, Blanco in center, Pence in right. Sandoval, Crawford, Abreu in for Scudero at second, and Belt your first baseman. Posey back behind the plate for game number 2, catching the veteran Barry Zito. That is your Ford defensive alignment. We go to the bottom of 2. Bruce, Frazier, and Hanahan due up. Game 1 of the doubleheader. Jay Bruce had a double and scored in the second. Hit by a pitch, stole a base, struck out, and grounded out for his afternoon of work. Facing Zito, Jay is 5 for 15 at .333 and a home run. Two of the better right field arms showcase here. Frank Coor, of course, most of his career has been a right fielder. Here he'll play more often in left with Pence established as the right fielder, and you saw his efforts in game 1 for his 120th career assist from the outfield when he threw out Frazier trying to stretch a single into a double, and Bruce almost had another assist of his own on that play at home plate. There's a line drive base hit to center. So the Reds have their first hit of the night. Second base runner after a walk to Votto in the first, and here comes Frazier.
You know, when you're hitting against Barry Zito, you have to take the same attitude a hitter should take when they bat against Bronson Arroyo. You got to think small, you got to stay with the breaking ball, and you've got to think slow. He's not going to challenge you with a fastball really very much, at least in a good part of the zone. Everything's going to be a cutter, slider, curveball, changeup, and the bigger the swing, the easier out you're going to make. That was a good swing by Bruce.
Here's Frazier, who's had some success against Zito, 4 for 7 and a homer. Looks at Mark Berry, who rolls through signs down in the third base box. Reds trying to claw their way back into this one, trailing 4-0. Short lead for Bruce down at first. Slap foul, 1-1.
You really got to figure. I mean, they're down by 4 runs. It's certainly a long way to go in this ball game, and the way the Reds have put runs on the board in this series, there's no reason to think why they can't do some damage here offensively against Zito.
Dusty likes the way this team has started this 4-game set, looking to produce some runs right here.
I tell you, really likes is Brooke Jacoby.
Yeah. Not bad, over 30 hits in 2 games. Zito to the stretch. Slow breaking ball.
Yeah, Zito wanted that one. He
Just
thought that
misses.
maybe dropped in maybe at the top end of the strike zone. Problem is you don't get very many calls with a high curveball. Your chances of getting called on a high fastball much better. A loop-de-loop.
You threw a few of those.
That's the old dewdrop in right there.
That's right. 2-1. Chase Bruce back. Straightens him up, but too high, 3-1. Bruce hasn't figured out Zito's move. He was heading back to first as that ball was delivered. Ripped towards the corner. Frank Coor will cut it off, so Bruce will have to hold at second. Back-to-back singles for the Reds. Got that one up, and Frazier made him pay.
Todd Frazier playing left field today, giving an opportunity for Jack Hanahan to get in the ball game, and he hit the ball yesterday, of course, that bases loaded double off the center field wall that really opened up the floodgates for the Reds. And he rips it down the line. Here's the reason I believe that Hanahan is in the ballgame playing third base, and they move Todd Frazier out there, because against left-handers, Zito struggles more than he does against right-handers. The home runs, of course, have been hit by righties, but the .373 batting average against left-handers shows me he's got nothing but that curveball to keep those guys in check. Got to keep them honest with something inside, and evidently he's not been able to do that.
And the other part of the equation is Dusty looked at the numbers. The Frazier 4 for 7 against him, now 5 for 8 against him. So 2 on, nobody out. And here's Jack for his first at bat. Big swing there, fouled off for strike 1.
Well, if it was only about Frazier, though, you could still play him at third base. He'd still be in the ballgame. But I think the fact that Dusty wanted to get Hanahan in there because he wanted to get another lefty in the lineup, because they've given Zito so much problems, at least this year.
Kind of a chess match, too. Once you decide to get another lefty in there, the decision is, do you put Frazier in left, or do you put Robinson out there? No balls, 2 strikes. Crawford to Abreu, double play depth, middle of the infield. Sandoval way wide at third, and playing behind the runner at first is Belt. Big hole in right center. The center fielder Blanco shaded towards left center. The 0-2.
Set up pitch right there. Probably come back with a little breaking ball down and away.
Third sign. There's a breaking ball, but it's in. So Hanahan retired looking.
That's a pretty good one right there by Zito. In fact, it would look like the same one that he threw, I guess, to Todd Frazier and thought he had a strikeout on. Even at the very end of that, Posey wants to bring that down to frame it a little bit.
Borderline. Well, here's Corky. Number 8 batter for the Reds with Reynolds on deck. Great opportunity for the Reds. 2 on, nobody out. Hoping that Miller from the 8th spot can find a way to get the run in. Corky here at the major league level this year at even 100 with a run batted in. One and one. Get on the disabled list. The Reds fortunate to have number 37 around, like a second coach at AAA over all these years. He's been brilliant in helping catchers and pitchers develop and mature down at the AAA level. That's a looper into right, going to get 1 run in, maybe 2. Around second, going to third is Frazier. They're going to send him. Here comes the throw to the plate. It will not be in time, and Corky Miller delivers. Simple job of hitting. You said it, Chris. Stay away, and that's exactly what Corky did. He drives in 2, and the Reds are back in this one 4-2.
Big hit for the Reds and Corky Miller. How about Corky going right down the right field line on a ball away? And he gets the Reds offense going right there. Zito just missing up in the zone. He got the high strikeout of Hanahan. That time he goes upstairs to Corky Miller, and Corky makes him pay. You may not realize this, but Corky's been around just about as long as Barry Zito has.
That's right.
In fact, Zito broke into the major leagues in 2000, and Corky Miller made his major league debut in 2001.
So the Reds get 2 back, and here's Reynolds, the pitcher. There's the strike. Runs batted in, number 2 and 3 for Miller on the season. Corky said at second. Here's the 1-1 from Zito to Reynolds. Now we watched Tim Lincecum last night, who's certainly changed demonstrably from what he was in his best years, his 2 Cy Young Award years, and Zito's made a similar turnaround. Swing and a miss. Reynolds retired.
Well, he's always had that big curveball. That's always been an excellent weapon for him. But, you know, as your arm speed diminishes, the break on that curveball gets a little bit slower. But if you throw it where he threw it right there, you're going to get your share of swings and misses.
Two away, back to the top of the order. Here's Chu. He sent Frank Coeur to the warning track and left first time up. His numbers improving somewhat, but still against left-handers this year, only 185, while he's hit 347 against right-handers. There's the strike. Little wide, 2-1 to Chu. You can look at numbers and see how they add up, but left-handers are different breed of cat. This left-hander different than most. Here's a 2-1. Way wide, 3-1. Isturis lined out his first time up. He's on deck, giving Cozart the night off. Cozart had a 4-hit game in game 1, including a home run. 3-1. Big swing, and we'll go full 3-2 with 2 away. Barry Zito gives up a 2-run double to Corky Miller. Leaves the runner stranded at second. Giants lead at 4-2, end of 2. Injuries call 1-800 Ohio. Tough stretch for the Giants. In the National League West, they've been outstanding. They just took 2 of 3 from Arizona. They're 29-21. That's best in the Western Division. But against the rest of Major League Baseball, they're 16-33 after losing the first 2 games of this series to the Reds. And for the next month, they'll be playing outside the division. Next game against someone from the West will be at the end of August. Our Elk and Elk storylines brought to you by Elk and Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries. Here's Buster Posey to lead off the top of the 3rd, hit by a pitch in the 1st inning. And he later scored. Well, Reynolds trying to keep it right where it is and give the Reds a chance to claw their way back into this one. They've gotten 2 runs back. He joined us late, and it is late back home in the 1st after one was out. A single by Abreu. Posey hit by a pitch. Sandoval doubled in 2. Pence singled in a run to make it 3-0. And then in the 2nd, a double by Crawford, a sacrifice, and a sacrifice fly by Blanco made it 4-0. Corky Miller's gotten 2 back for the Reds, and we're sitting 4-2. And if you're just joining us and wondering why the Reds are wearing white, this is a Reds technically home game for game 2 of this doubleheader, the makeup game of the July 4th rainout game from Cincinnati. That guy right there is Greg Reynolds, up from AAA Louisville, where he pitched exceptionally well for the Reds, returning home to the Bay Area. Pacifica, California is home. Host of family and friends here. Dribbled down to 2nd. Phillips has it. Posey's retired, 1 away here in the 3rd.
Well, Reynolds had a big week. I mean, he was the winner in the AAA All-Star game last week that was played in Reno, Nevada. And that kind of topped the year that he had been kind of on pace for himself. Last year he pitched in the Texas organization, pitched in AAA Round Rock, where he went 11-9 and had earned run average over 5. So Texas decided that even though they needed pitching, they did not need Greg Reynolds. So he looked around and didn't have all that many offers. The Reds were one team that came after him. He liked the Reds, the tradition of it, and everything that goes along with being a Cincinnati Red. And as it turned out, the Reds got the benefit of getting a guy really on the rebound.
They like his work ethic, like the way he's matured as a pitcher, not just a thrower.
I mean,
it's hit a mile down the right field line, but pulled away foul.
What do you call when it's a foul splash down?
Those were commonplace in the days of Barry Bonds, huh? Pablo doubled in 2 in the 1st inning, and he hit that one a mile. Talking about his time in Louisville, Greg Reynolds had nothing but great things to say about the coaching staff and also about his catcher Corky Miller and about a guy who's no longer there, and that's Mark Pryor. The Reds signed Pryor this offseason. Mark took Reynolds under his wing to try to teach him about being a major leaguer, not just on the field but off the field. Preparation, study. Mark, of course, has had arm, shoulder, and elbow troubles, and once again went down this past month and is no longer with Louisville after another injury, probably the end of his career. But what a great influence he was on Greg Reynolds.
Yeah, solid guy. We got to know him a little bit in spring training when he came and showed up down at Goodyear, and was not invited to big league camp. Prior that was, and he threw the ball pretty well, and he was hoping he was going to be healthy and stay healthy. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, but really a class act.
This one looped down to right, but foul. It's funny how the California guys look out for each other. Pryor from Southern California, and Jack McDowell, the former Cy Young Award winner for the White Sox, who still lives in California, went to Stanford just like Reynolds did. He's kept tabs on him and was wondering how he was doing at AAA. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Got him. Nice pitch.
Now he gets his first strikeout of the night, and he gets it on that front door fastball. You see Corky Miller setting up inside, a little comeback action. Good sink on that ball too. That's the one that just freezes a left-handed hitter, and We see Sam LeCure throw that. Bronson Arroyo's throwing that a lot. Mike Leake lives with that pitch. That's become more and more of a real effective pitch for a right-handed pitcher that's got a little movement on his fastball.
There's Pence. Hopper down to short with 2 away. Asturias takes care of it. Pence retired, so a scoreless third. That's a good one for Reynolds. Reds trail 4-2 as we go to the bottom of 3. Players might step up, take over the safety spot. Plus, it was football media day for the Mid-American Conference. See who the experts pick as their preseason favorites. FoxSportsOhio.com has complete coverage from all of today's action involving Ohio sports. Brought to you by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO. Drive safe, spend less. 4 runs, 4 hits for the Giants. 2 runs, 3 hits for the Reds. Big hits for San Francisco in the early going of this one. A double by Sandoval that chased home 2, and a sacrifice fly from Blanco. Also a base hit by Pence, chased home a run. The Reds 2 runs scored on a double by Corky Miller, his 2nd and 3rd runs batted in of the season. Here's Cesar Asturias to lead it off, bottom of 3. Votto and Brandon Phillips will follow. 0-2. Facing Zito's almost like facing a knuckleballer at times. You got to be patient. You got to stay back.
Oh, and that's his fastball right there at 82. He gives you an idea of what you're up against. I mean, he doesn't care what the radar gun reading is. He wants to know how the hitters are reacting to his stuff.
Warren Spahn always said hitting is timing and pitching is disrupting timing. And more important than velocity, well more important than velocity, is location and movement. Tough play for Sandoval. Flips and gets him by half a step. Nice play by Pablo.
Well, Sandoval is a good athlete. I mean, he looks like he's overweight, and he probably is. And I know the Giants would love to see him shed a few pounds. But the fact is, he can play. He can hit. He would be more athletic, I think, and quicker if he had a few pounds less on him. But I mean, he's still, from hand-eye coordination and so on, a pretty good athlete.
That's laced to the left side and a base hit for Joey. Votto walk first time up. Reaches on this base hit. Well, the Reds have 1 out, 1 on, and here comes Brandon.
Joey was not too happy, really, about that first ball game. I mean, he did hit the opposite field home run, but he went 1 for 5 overall. He struck out his last at bat. And you could see him very angry with himself. And he's not about to let Barry Zito get to a point in the count where he can start dropping some pitches on him. Looking breaking ball early, got it, and laced it the other way.
Remember last night, his first 2 at bats against Lincecum, he struck out looking and was demonstrative in the first called strike 3 on the outside corner. Talked to him before the game today. He went back right after the game, looked at the video, and he said, you know, probably was a strike. Brandon bounced to second first time up. For a Giants team that has relied on starting pitching, Lincecum, Kane, Zito, Bumgarner, Bruce Bochy's had to struggle to keep a starting rotation intact this year. And with Zito and Lincecum both at the tail end of their contracts, the Giants will have some major decisions to make for next year. We're talking about 2 pitchers that are making $20 million a year.
Well, I think some decisions will be easier than others.
Two and 0.
Now, the one thing about this Barry Zito, and he's got 19 starts already, and you figure he might have 15 more starts, depending on how the season plays out. He automatically vests a contract next year if he pitches 200 or more innings.
Loop to right. Here comes Pence. Does he get it? No. He just misjudged it. It kept twirling away from him off the end of the bat. Looked like he had a beat on it. It sunk in front of him. Never did get the glove on it. He'll be charged with an error, and the Reds have 2 on with 1 out.
I'll tell you, you talk to the coaching staff here in San Francisco, and they'll tell you this kind of play happens a lot here. Not as much with Giants outfielders as it does with visitors, but the ball looks like it goes up in the air, and you really can't trust the flags. The flags are blown one way, the ball dies right there, and Hunter Pence, who's normally a pretty good outfielder, really looks foolish on that ball. The same way that Gregor Blanco looked bad the other night on a ball that hit in front of him off the bat of Chu to start the ball game off. That ruined the night for Tim Lincecum. On a ball that should easily have been caught, went down for a double. That goes down for an error.
Dave Urghetti out to counsel Zito with 1 out, 2 on. And here comes Bruce. Jay, first time up, single to center. And in his career has hit over 300 against Zito with a homer. The Reds trying to make some more hay here in the bottom of inning number 3. That's a strike. And the other part of it too, Chris, this is kind of like Los Angeles, where at night on the warm days especially, that grass gets a little slippery here. You need good outfielders in this ballpark that can read the wind and can cover a lot of ground.
Well, boy, this is the kind of opportunity that you look for, though, is you get an extra out, you're in the middle of the lineup, you've got a lefty versus Zito, and Zito has a hard time with left-handers. And he's come right after Jay Bruce, who got him in an 0-2 hole. Bruce has been good against Zito. I mean, these are the kind of opportunities that you have to really capitalize on. When you get an extra out, when you get an extra base runner.
First 2 games of this series the Reds have, trying to do it here. The ball, 2 strikes to Bruce. Votto and Phillips lead off. That's a little low, and we're even at 2. Frazier, who singled last time up, is on deck. Did he go? Yes, he did, says the home plate umpire, Phil Cuzzy. Zito comes up with a big pitch, retires Bruce.
Yeah, we're going to have a hard time from this angle telling whether he went or not. Cuzzy decides to call it on his own, and usually when the home plate umpire does it, it's clear that the batter probably did, and I imagine that the third base umpire would probably ring Bruce up on that if he was asked. But what chaps the hitter is that at least get a second opinion.
4 strikeouts for Zito, 2 away, and here's Frazier. Foul back for strike 1. The Reds have cashed in on most every opportunity in the first 2 games of the series. Golden one here, trailing by 2. Toms River native digs in. Posey flashes his signs. And then Frazier will ask for time as Zito and Posey having trouble getting together. Missing up, and it's 1-1. Yeah, you get used to that lull you to sleep motion, Chris, and even a 79-mile-an-hour fastball can straighten you up inside.
Yeah,
huh?
I mean, I keep going back to Bronx and Arroyo, and that's what you're looking at. You're looking at a left-handed Arroyo without quite as many different arm angles.
A ball, 2 strikes to Frazier. Down to third, Sandoval will beat Votto to the bag, and Votto retired at third. Zito will strand 2 more. The Reds trail 4-2.
He's a little bit, you know, not as shell-shocked this time for sure, although, you know, I'm just as excited as you could ever be, especially pitching here in San Francisco. But, you know, it's a different time. I'm a little bit different of a pitcher, like we said before, and, you know, I'm a lot more confident than I was back then.
Greg Reynolds had a rocky first inning as 7 came to the plate. The Giants scored 3 to take a 3-0 lead. He settled down the last 2. Here we go to the 4th. Belt, Francoeur, and Crawford due up. And the big righty set to deliver to the Giants first baseman. Like you talked about, Chris, you know, you have your major league debut and then you have your home debut. When you came back to Cincinnati for the first time, there were different emotions than the major league debut.
Yeah, there are, and it's almost like you have more at stake when you're pitching in front of your family and friends, because it feels if you don't pitch well, you're not just letting your team down, you're letting your family down, because they have to explain to their friends and their neighbors what happened to their son. And those are all the things that go on in your mind that, you know, you're sitting at home, you don't realize. I mean, it's easy to evaluate a guy by stats and his stuff and so on, but, you know, a lot of time that churning inside on an emotional night like this is a tough thing to overcome until you get out there for a few innings, and then, you know, you find yourself in the flow of the game.
Now, when you made your first appearance in Cincinnati, did you go home or did you stay in the hotel, and what did Dan and Kay say to your mom and dad?
Well, I stayed in the hotel because I kind of wanted to keep as much of a routine as I could, but I ate at home, and, you know, I tried to keep it in check. The problem was I was facing Tom Seaver.
Yeah, that doesn't help. A rocket across the infield as Sturris gets Francoeur, and there are quickly 2 outs. And it's the difference in Reynolds right here. He was a predominantly fly ball pitcher when he first came up. Now he'll turn the ball over and get more ground balls.
Well, he's got great sinking action on his fastball, and it just goes to show you that he's figured out a way to survive. And he may not be the same, you know, #1 draft pick, but hey, there's room for a guy on a lot of major league teams that can keep the ball down, keep the ball in the ballpark. And I mean, to me, he doesn't have any different stuff than Mike Leake does. But Leake is more consistent at this point with throwing the ball where he wants to, and bottom line, that's what you have to do.
Here's Crawford, the Giant shortstop, doubled to lead off the second and later scored on a sacrifice fly by Blanco. 4 runs, 4 hits for the Giants, 2 runs, 4 hits for the Reds. Corky setting up inside. To Crawford. Yes, misses outside. 2-1. You know, the other part of rhythm, Chris, when you're a big lanky guy like this, nice to get into a rhythm from the windup right off the bat after a base hit and a hit batter. He's working from the stretch in the first inning. Didn't really look like he was comfortable until that 3rd inning, and it looked pretty good the last 2. He misses down. There's a walk. His first walk issued in addition to a hit batsman, and here comes Zito, who sacrificed first time up.
You know, that's just a mental mistake right there by Greg Reynolds, and it happens to veteran pitchers as well as young pitchers and inexperienced guys. But you got the #8 hitter after you retire 1-2 in a row, 7 and 8, and now you got the pitcher up there. You'd love to have him leading off the next inning rather than coming up here with 2 outs.
Well, the Reds have won 1 today, trying to pick up ground on the Cardinals, but the Cardinals have won their game. The Pirates have won their game. If the Reds can sweep 2, they can still pick up half a game on St. Louis. That's snubbed down to third. It will be a fair ball down the line. It'll be first and third for the Giants. Hanahan pulled way over towards the hole. Couldn't smother it, rolled down the line, and a good job by Frazier to get there to prevent the run from scoring.
Well, a 2-out walk after getting 1 and 2 on easy ground balls now leads to a first and third situation. That ball clearly a fair ball. Quinn Wolcott makes that clear as the diving Hanahan goes right by him, and Zito's picked up a base hit.
2 productive at bats for Zito. A sacrifice to put a runner to third, where a sacrifice fly scored him, and here a double puts runners at first and third. Back to the top of the order, Blanco, who bounced out, and his sacrifice fly plated the 4th run in the second. From the stretch again is Reynolds. Crawford down at third, Zito at first. That's a strike on the outside corner. In the West, the Dodgers trailed in their game at Toronto, but came all the way back to finally win that game 10-9. So the Dodgers putting pressure on everybody in the West. Right now they're playing as well as anybody in baseball. Here's the 1-1. Fouled on the first baseline.
Yeah, they called up Carlos Marmol out of the minor leagues. Of course, they picked up Marmol from the Cubs, sent him down to the minor leagues immediately. And they just recently recalled him. In fact, he pitched in that ball game. Did not do all that great in that game, but they came back and took it to the Blue Jays. That was former Red Todd Redmond, who started for the Blue Jays today.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Reynolds to the stretch. Phillips will backhand, flip it to Asturis, and the Dodgers win to put the pressure on the Giants. The Giants will strand a pair here in the 4th. Reds come to bat, bottom of the 4th, trailing by 2. Ohio, brought to you by Toyota. See your Toyota dealer. Visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. And by JTM Food Group. Let's create great dishes together. And don't forget, if you're hitting the road, we'll take Fox Sports Ohio's coverage of the Reds with you all season long. MLB.TV celebrating 11 years with new low prices. So make sure you catch every Reds Out of Market game live on over 350 supported mobile and connected devices in HD quality with MLB.TV Premium. MLB.TV, baseball everywhere. Well, Greg Reynolds has settled down. The Reds have trailed 4-0, now 4-2 after Corky Miller delivered a 2-run scoring double, and it'll be Hanahan, Miller, and Reynolds as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Joe Morgan just stopped by, the Reds Hall of Famer. Chris, he echoed what you were saying about Greg Reynolds.
Well, you know, as long as a guy pitches within himself, I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a guy who doesn't throw 95 miles an hour in your rotation. And you don't know what's going to happen with the Reds rotation next year. You know, if Bronson Arroyo can't be re-signed by the Reds, that's going to open a spot in the rotation. You don't know what else may happen. You got to have depth. You just can't have 5 starters that are major league ready in your big league team and then hope that everybody stays healthy all year long. So, you know, that's why they would go out and get a guy like Greg Reynolds, because the downside of that is not really very severe. He didn't work out, but as it turns out, he runs off 10 wins in AAA by the middle of July, and now you've got something.
1 ball, 1 strike to Hanahan, who struck out looking first time up. Now, realistically, as a general manager, you probably have to go into a season expecting to use at least 8 starters.
Oh, sure.
So you need 3 down at AAA that you can call on. I mean, and there are years, last year, where the Reds didn't need anyone. There are other years where you may need 10. I mean, look what the Cardinals have been through this year. They keep calling people up and they keep delivering, and that's kept them in the race.
So look what they've done the last few years in their bullpen. They shared that closer's role around to about 15 different pitchers.
And when you add it all up right now in a bullpen that looked somewhat suspect, it's probably the best bullpen in the National League right now. 2-2. So Jack will get him full, 3 balls, 2 strikes with Miller on deck. He's had the big hit for the Reds so far, plating 2 with a 2-base hit down the right field line. Yeah, stays alive, getting a piece of that.
Well, he hung one right there. Berrizito got away with one. That's a breaking ball that stays about 2 inches above the belt. And Hanahan just unable to get the fat part of the bat on it. He'd like to have that one swing out again.
Because he's trying to buy a little time for Posey, who had the worst of that. Try it again, 3-2. I guess, Chris, every place we go, you go into a ballpark, and you and I have always done it. You call it the eye test. You know, you look at position by position around the diamond, and you say, are they better than us? Are they worse than us? Especially when you look at the best teams in the league. Here's the 3-2 again. That's ball 4. The Reds have a leadoff base runner here in the bottom of 4. And when you look at this Giants team, the guy who steps out is the guy behind the plate. Do you keep him behind the plate? He's better than anybody else on the field. Do you move him to first as you look at the wear and tear of being a catcher, an MVP, a batting champion candidate every year?
Well, some of that depends on what you have to push him. I mean, if you've got a young prospect in the minor leagues that is, you know, your next Buster Posey, then you would be more likely to move him to first base. The problem is you got Brandon Belt down there. They're very high on Belt as a first baseman. Hits left-handed, gives you a little balance in the lineup. Those decisions aren't always as easy as they seem to appear when you're sitting up in the stands.
Here's Corky. He doubled in 2 back in the 2nd inning. Right center field. Long run for Pence. Can he get there? Yes, he does. Well, he dropped one in right, but he saved another double off the bat of Miller there that might have scored Hanahan if it got by him. Great effort by Hunter Pence.
Well, you just go figure. I mean, Hunter Pence misses a ball that he should have had in his hip pocket. And here's a ball that looks like it's found the gap, and he comes out of nowhere to make a sliding, turning catch. That's a good effort by Pence.
He gives you that every time, doesn't he?
Yeah, he really does.
Just a baseball player. Now here's Reynolds. So instead of at least second and third with no one out, it's now first with one out, and we'll see if Reynolds will be sacrificing. Sandoval coming in at third expecting a bunt, and they'll throw over to see if he squares, and he does.
And they're going to do that because you want to stay out of a ground ball double play right here. You want to just keep the inning alive as much as you possibly can.
Foul for strike one. Mark Berry gets his sign from Dusty and rolls through him for Hanahan down at first and Reynolds at the plate. They'll take the out at first. A successful sacrifice from Reynolds. So the Reds get a runner in the scoring position with two away. Back to the top of the order, Chu. Here's our IGS bringing the energy numbers on the night, Chris. You've talked a lot about it all year. Chu against lefties month by month.
Well, I like that bottom number right here. This July number is much better than any other month. And you know, I think for Chu, it's all a matter of being able to take that ball back through the middle, wait on the breaking ball a little bit. And I think the more he watches Joey Votto and what Votto does to prepare, I think it's helped him a little bit. I mean, Votto's as good as they get as far as lefty against lefty.
Tonight against this lefty, Chu flied to left to the warning track and then struck out in the second. He's one of 4 strikeouts that Zito has thus far. Runner scoring position is Hanahan with 2 away. Breaking ball misses. If you missed game 1 of this doubleheader, Chu hit by a pitch, bounced out, flied out, struck out. His 16-game hitting streak ended with that 0 for 3. And it's 3-0 with Asturis up next. Center fielder Blanco shades Chu way over into left center. Big hole in right center. That's a strike. Second walk of the inning. 2 out, 2 on, and that'll bring Asturis to the plate. Cesar lined to right and bounced to third, 0 for 2. Figures Zito wants a decision here with Votto on deck. Asturis, the switch hitter, playing short as Kozart gets game 2 of this doubleheader off. As we talked about before game 1 of the series, Chris, Bruce Bochy playing every game that's close as an important and critical game. Dunning is already up and loosening here in the 4th inning with a 2-run lead for the Giants.
Yeah, this is the first time the Giants haven't been blown out by this point in the ball game. Here we are in the 4th inning.
This one looped into right. Here comes Pence. He'll get there, and that'll do it. So the Reds will strand 2 more and trail it 4-2.
You know, just trying to beat guys with velocity and just trying to go out there and throw the ball as hard as I can, and even with my curveball. But now it's you know, I've transitioned a little bit more into executing pitches and mentally kind of grasping, you know, the fact that I don't need to try to throw the ball 110% every time. You know, just kind of executing pitches, keeping the ball down, and mixing it up.
Even the ball down has worked for Greg Reynolds at the minor league level, and had a rough start in the first, gave up 3, another one in the second, but has settled down since. And as you can see as you watch him, he's got sink on almost everything and movement from a 4-seam fastball, high fastball pitcher that threw in the mid-90s. After elbow and shoulder difficulties, he's learned to control the strike zone, stay down, and get ground balls when he needs it. He's in a ball game here. 4 runs, 5 hits for the Giants, 2 runs, 4 hits for the Reds. And Cincinnati has left 6 on base already through 4. Here we go to the 5th. Abreu will lead it off. Tony singled in the first, is the first base hit against Reynolds, and later scored on a double by Sandoval. And he's quickly ahead 0-2. That's where his fastball will usually top off at 88 miles an hour. Now they head 0-2. He lets Sandoval this one up a little bit, and he makes him pay. That's a leadoff base hit in the 5th. Time for our AT&T trivia question of the night. Who were the winning pitchers in the last time the Reds swept a doubleheader in San Francisco? The Reds swept a doubleheader in San Francisco. Wow.
At least give me a decade on that one. I'll have to say Bucky Walters. And Bucky Walters.
You never go wrong with Bucky. Gary Schatz believes that. Big swing by Posey to right. Back is Bruce. He'll track it down about 400 feet away. Posey gave it a pretty good ride, and there's one away. That'd be a little after the Jim Maloney era, probably. The last time they played regular doubleheaders was 60s and 70s back here in San Francisco, unless there was another.
I'm not even sure where to start on that question.
Here's Sandoval. That's a bullet through the infield into right. Bruce will scoop it up. And Abreu will hold at second. So Sandoval's 2 for 3, a double that played at 2, and this rocket shot into right. So the decade is the 70s. Josh Hall gives us that much. I ought to ask Chris Spire. Chris would remember. He was a starting shortstop here from 71, 72 through the 70s. There's number 35, same number Crawford's wearing today. He was one of the first to wear 35 at short, and Murph has been given 35 out to every shortstop since. Here's Hunter Pence, singled in a run and bounced out. Reds hoping for 2, middle of the infield. That's a strike. Just like Bernie Stowe, Mike Murphy been a fixture here in San Francisco. Bernie, of course, as long as we've been around, Chris, part of the Reds story in Cincinnati. Rick and Mark have taken over. This one looped into center. Can anybody get there? It will be a base hit. They'll hold a runner at third, and the bases will be loaded. A long run for Chu. He came within a foot of getting a glove on it, and the bases will be loaded with one away.
Yeah, that's the kind of play that Hunter Pence, who has hit this ball, actually took away from the Reds last inning with a diving catch. Pence takes a big swing, and that freezes the outfielders momentarily. Chu's going to make a great attempt right here and just not be able to get to it. That's the kind of effort, though, you love out of your players.
Good job by Bruce to back him up to hold a runner at third.
So a couple of hard hit balls and then a bloop, and all of a sudden you've got one out and the bases loaded.
And the Reds will start action in their bullpen as Brian Price comes out to talk to Reynolds.
That's J.J. Hoover down there.
You heard Reynolds talk about the need to come up with a ground ball when he has to, and this is it right here. With Belt coming to the plate, a ground ball double play is what's in order for him.
Hoover's getting it going right now. And part of this trip by Brian Price is to wait out there long enough so that Phil Cuzzi finally has to come out and break it up to give Hoover a few extra pitches. Now they're going to tell probably, and you probably don't have to tell Corky Miller, but you say, all right, slow his pace down a little bit, because we don't want to get this inning and get away from the Reds before you can get somebody loose and ready to go.
So now they're loaded with one away. Here's Belt. Bounced into a fielder's choice and bounced to second. From the stretch is Reynolds. No place to put him. Misses down and in for ball one.
Little cut fastball right there. Was looking for Belt maybe to roll over on one and hit it to the first baseman, the start of a double play.
Votto playing behind Pence at first. Phillips, Esteuras pinched towards the second base bag. There's your ground ball, but they won't get 2 out of this. They'll get an out, a run will score, and it's 5-2. Good spot, got the ground ball they wanted, but not hit hard enough. And that'll bring Frank Gore to the plate, who's grounded out twice. So second and third, 2 away. Critical as that out was, this at bat extremely critical for Reynolds and the Reds. 5-2, just a 3-run deficit. 1 and out here. Sandoval and Pence lead off with 2 down. We'll get there as Sturris does, and they get the out. Good bounce back with the bases loaded situation for Reynolds, but the Giants get a run. Lead at 5-2 as we head to the bottom of 5. Votto due up. Ticker offered August the 23rd to the 25th at Great American Ballpark for only $48. You get 4 view level tickets, 4 Reds hats too. Take advantage of this great deal and cheer on your Redlegs when they take on the Brewers. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or reds.com/tickets today. Offer subject to availability. Reds' next home series will be against the Redbirds first week of August, as the Reds will move from San Francisco on to Los Angeles, then on to San Diego before returning home. Here's Joey, walked and singled, 1 for 1. Reds have stranded 6 already, trail 5-2. These are 2 managers that are very cognizant of their divisional races and very cognizant of the wild card hunt. There's a slicing fly ball to left. Frank Coor is there. He'll squeeze it. Votto's retired, 1 away, and here comes Brandon Phillips. Phillips bounced out, reached on an error by Pence, 0 for 2. over his belt. He has room and 2 quick outs for Zito. Sitting on 80 pitches after 4 innings. He gets 2 quick outs on 2 pitches here in the 5th. And here comes Bruce. 1 for 2, a single. Hope you had a chance to check in with Jim Day on our Reds Live pregame show prior to game number 1 and the interview with Walt Jocketty. Walt giving everyone an update on the walking wounded for the Reds. Hopes of getting Johnny Cueto back in August, getting Broxton back, and fingers crossed on Sean Marshall too. Bruce bangs this into center. That's a base hit. And Ryan Ludwig tomorrow will start his, or actually it's today, Wednesday, Cincinnati time. Later today will start his rehab at Dayton. So Jay's got 2 hits, and here comes Frazier. He's not ruled out a possible deal as we hit the trading deadline, but he said nothing is really imminent. The hope is to get the walking wounded back. That's the first choice. Frazier singled to left and bounced out.
You know, part of the thing about the trading deadline is that there are so many teams that are still in it because of that second wild card team eligible for the playoffs, that they're waiting maybe until the last minute, some teams that are on the fence, to determine whether they're sellers or buyers. So those who, like Walt referred to, that he's, you know, looked at and that they have essentially pointed their fingers at, they're not available yet, and they may not become available. So,
not by the first trading deadline at July 31st, maybe afterward. I mean, really, when you look at it, there are only maybe 7 or 8 teams that are completely out. Everybody else is holding out hope that maybe they can rally in the next 2 months. Right on the button, Frazier drills it to center, going back, looking up. It's 1 hop off the top of the wall. They're going to send the runner around third. Here comes the throw to the plate. Here comes the slide. He is safe. Jay Bruce clipped the outside part of the plate. A perfect slide by Bruce, and Todd Frazier delivers a 3-bagger that gets the Reds on the board. Bruce Bochy will come out and argue. Great slide by Bruce as he clipped the outside part of the plate, and the Reds have cut the deficit to 2-5-3.
Very much like the ball that Todd Frazier hit in the first inning of the first game here against Tim Lincecum. A line shot right over the head of the center fielder. It short hops the fence in center field. In that case, there were bases loaded. Here he's going to send Bruce all the way home, and he's able to get his foot in there. Good hustle by Jay Bruce. He never once slowed up. And on the throw to third, or on the throw to home, Todd Frazier stretches that double into a double and a throw to go into third base. So
perfect relay by the Giants. Did it about as good as you could do it. A perfect relay. And you mentioned Bruce. You watch the turn that he made at third. He cut it about as tight as he could and just got the foot in before the tag.
Well, that's good 2-out hitting right there. Jay Bruce with a 2-out single. You're thinking if you're Barry Zito, all right, 2-out singles, they don't bother me too much, no damage done. And then you leave one out over the plate to Todd Frazier, who's suddenly hitting the ball a little bit better. Scalded one in the left field for a base hit in the second inning. That ball was smoked.
And that will be it for Barry Zito. So the Reds have clawed their way back to within 2, 5-3. And Heisey announces a pinch hitter for Hanahan, and that'll be it. So Zito's day is done. Dunning on his way in. Time for our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Cincinnati Reds and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Now, we mentioned it that Bruce Bochy knows how critical this point in time is with the Dodgers playing as well as they are. Zito is out. Dunning is in. The Reds have crawled their way back to within 2, 5-3. And here comes Jake Dunning, Chris.
Yeah, 24-year-old right-hander from Indiana University Bloomington. Actually, he was raised in Florida. Born in Georgia. Only 18 games under his major league belt so far.
Had his major league debut earlier this year. And clipped on the arm is Heisey. The pinch hitter. Posey steps in front of him and says, let's not get anything going there. And Heisey trots down to first.
That ball clipped him, it looks like, on the bill of the cap. I mean, he's nodding and saying, you all right? Yes, he is. But watch him as he first gets up. I mean, he jumps up immediately, looks right back at Dunning. That's one of those reactions where all you're thinking is, hey, you're looking for a reaction out of the pitcher as if, did you mean to do that on purpose?
That gets the adrenaline and the blood flowing awful fast, huh? So it's first and third. Heisey down at first. Frazier still down at third after the triple.
That's scary.
Wow. And here comes Corky. Miller 1 for 2, a double that played at 2. That was back in the second. Big swing and a miss, a ball and a strike. Harris is loosening in the bullpen. The lefty with Dunning, the lanky right-hander, on the mound. Xavier Paul has moved into the on-deck circle with the pitcher spot due up next. Nub to the right side. Scoop by Abreu, and the Reds will strand a pair. They have stranded 8, but they get another run back and trail at 5-3.
For just $15. Log on to Reds.com/FSOhio. Use the promo code FSOH15 and order your view level tickets. Games against the Cardinals, $15 right now while supplies last. Jim Day with you, and this past Thursday it opened up a lot of eyes when the Reds optioned Tony Cingrani to AAA Louisville. Everyone said, what's going on? He's one of the starting pitchers in the rotation. Well, it was actually part of a master plan, and it involves the 26-man rule for doubleheaders. When a player is sent out to the minor leagues, you cannot return unless a player is injured for 10 days. Well, that 10 days happens to fall on this Sunday, which happens to be the exact day that Tony Cingrani is due to pitch next. So after this game tonight, he'll be sent to Arizona. Since he can't stay with the team, he'll work out at the Glendale facility, or excuse me, the Goodyear facility. And it's part of a master plan for the Reds. He was added as the 26th man to the roster this evening. And Reynolds was activated onto the 40-man roster. The only bugaboo in the whole thing is that Greg Reynolds is out of options. So if they send him out, he has to go through waivers and they might lose him. So Reds had an extra position player during the process. If they send Reynolds out, they have an extra player to use until Sunday. So a smart move procedurally, guys, if you can take it that all in by the Reds front office.
Yeah, you're right, JD. Bob Miller is on this trip with Walt Jocketty as they head towards the trading deadline, and it's been like a constant revolving door in terms of planning and what to do and how to handle this road trip, Chris, how to handle the bullpen, how to handle the starting rotation with the injury to Cueto.
Yeah, the one thing I got a question for you about there, George, is that when they do send Greg Reynolds out, if they send him out, and he's out of options, do they risk losing him on the way down to AAA, or do they risk losing him when they try to make him active and bring him back up?
I believe they lose him on the way down.
On the way down?
Yeah. Swing by Crawford. Long run, Bruce reaching up. He's got it.
Boy, Jay Bruce gets such a good jump on baseballs out there in right field. I mean, you really don't see the best of Jay Bruce defensively playing at Great American Ballpark because it's a shallow right field. It seems like anything over his head is either off the wall or in the stands. But here, you've got that big gap down there at 421 in the right center field area, and he just runs that ball down. You don't do that unless you get a good jump.
Well, Roberto Kelly, who's the first base coach here for the Giants, was an outstanding outfielder in his day with the Reds and with the Yankees, said in his mind, if Jay Bruce played in a park like this, he'd win the Gold Glove every year. I think he's right. I mean, you have the opportunity to do things here and show what you can do, and I mean, it's a tough right field to play. But if you can play it, we've seen him throw, we've seen him run. He is so solid fundamentally, isn't he?
Yeah, he's worked at it. Boy. He really has.
It's one thing to have ability and talent, but it's something else to fundamentally get better and better. And he never quits working at it. And the Reds crawl their way back to 5-3 instead of a runner sitting on second and third. That's out number one. Crawford gave that a ride. Battling the lights and hauling it in is Heisey. He looked up, and as they here at AT&T Park, they're not a long bank of lights, they're high stanchion lights, and this ended up right smack dab in the middle of the lights, and he had the glove in the right place. Scary moment if you're the left fielder, Chris.
Wonder what was scarier, that ball coming out his dome out of the pitcher's hand, or that ball coming out his dome out of the batter's bat.
Ball finds you when you come in, doesn't it? Back to the top of the order, Blanco. So Hoover delivers a breaking ball in there. Or the Reds bullpen has been money in the bank of late, hasn't it, Chris?
Well, they have been, and it's impressive because you're missing two of the important guys in that pen, and Broxton and Marshall out. The other guys have really stepped it up.
Well, 2 fine defensive plays. The end result, Hoover has a 1-2-3, top of 6 to the bottom of 6. Great American Ballpark. Take advantage of a members-only Kids Club ticket offer for August 9 or 10 when your Reds take on the Padres. Plus, make sure you bring your Kids Club membership card to the Reds head clubhouse in the ballpark to receive a collectible figurine of your Kids Club captain, Todd Frazier. For tickets, visit reds.com/kidsclub. Well, the number 9 spot in the order due up for the Reds as we go to the bottom of 6. And Zach Cozart will pinch hit to start the inning. Cozart had 4 hits in the first game of this double dip, including a home run. So he steps in to lead off the bottom of 6 after a good clean inning from J.J. Hoover. Here's Jose Maharis, who takes over. Maharis along with Lopez, the 2 lefties in this bullpen. That's a call, strike 3. Quick work for Cozart and 1 away. So the final numbers on Zito: 4 2/3, 6 hits, 3 runs, all of them earned. For Greg Reynolds, 5 innings, 8 hits, 5 runs, all of them earned, 1 walk and 1 strikeout. Got off to a rocky start, Chris, but Reynolds showed you he could pitch.
I like the action on his fastball. I also like the fact that he knows what he's doing out there, and a little upsetting anyway to realize that the Reds may risk losing him because he's out of options. But I'd like to see him in the organization. I think there may be room for him somewhere down the road.
Here's Chu. Had his 16-game hitting streak snapped in game 1. Flied out, struck out, and walked here in game 2. Breaking ball drops in there. Since the All-Star break, Bruce Bochy has been liberal with his use of his bullpen, using 4 or 5 or 6 relievers a night. And he's heading towards a night similar to that tonight. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He joined us late. Former Red Jeremy Affeldt, not eligible for this series, placed on the disabled list with a groin strain, and he will be out for a prolonged period. That's a key left-handed member of this bullpen. Start of play tonight. The Giants were 6 games back. The Dodgers have already won. Giants losing game number 1 are right now 7 games back. All 4, and Chu will march down to first. Hey, get ready for Reds action 30 minutes before every Reds game with Reds Live on Fox Sports Ohio. Reds Live has everything you need to know for that night's game, and it's only on your exclusive home for Reds baseball. Reds Live presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. Final game of the series tomorrow. JD, what do you got on tap for tomorrow for Reds Live pregame? All Chris Welsh all the time.
I didn't get that memo, but I'm happy to.
You'll be interviewing
help
the
out
Seagulls.
whatever you need.
You have an exclusive interview with the Seagulls. I got you. Here's Asturis batting in the number 2 spot, lined out, grounded out, flied out. Short lead for Chu. He leads the Reds in stolen bases. This one looped to the right side, and another easy out for the Giants as Belt hauls it in. 2 away. And here comes Joey. Votto walked, singled, and flied out. First game of the doubleheader tonight. Votto clubbed his 16th home run. He missed game number 1. The Reds continued what has been a very successful tenure in San Francisco. Devin Mesoraco hit a 3-run homer in the first. Cozart singled in a run. Reds led 4-1. Votto made it 5-1 with a homer in the third. And Cozart capped the outstanding game number 1. Had 4 hits, 3 singles, and a homer with 2 runs batted in. Tony Cingrani won game number 1, and that package 2 picked up his first major league run batted in. Strike 1 to Joey. They'll chase Chu back. Fouled off for strike 0-2. Votto's faced Maharis twice and is 0 for 2 against him.
Maharis got good stuff. He throws his fastball at the 95, and Votto just saw a pretty good breaking ball from him.
They see it again. Fastball up, misses.
I think Posey wanted that breaking ball, and Maharis shook him off, and Maharis wants to set it up first with a high fastball.
Ball, 2 strikes to Votto. Chu off first. This one looped into center. That's going to drop for a hit. Chu will hold at second. Votto's second hit, 3rd time on base. And it's 1st and 2nd. That'll bring Phillips to the plate with 2 outs here in the 6th.
I mean, if we can figure it out, you know, Joey Votto's got it figured out. He goes 0-2, throws him an high fastball. You know the next pitch is going to be a breaking ball, even though it's a good one, almost down the dirt. Votto's looking for it, and he flips it into center field.
So who's going to outthink whom? Posey, the hitter, who's a MVP and a lead the league hitter, or the pitcher Maharis? I think Posey had the right idea.
Well, but even though, I mean, that's as good a breaking ball that Maharis can throw as far as location wise, and you're really not fooling Votto to the point where he's going to swing and miss. I think at some point when you throw that inside fastball or that high fastball, you got to back it up with another one. But he's not going to get a chance to do any of that anymore, as that's Bruce Bochy streaking out to the mound.
So Maharis will be done. That's about as fast as Boch can go. You know that.
I've never seen him move that fast.
Santiago Casilla in the bullpen. He'll be on his way in while the pitching change takes place. We'll take time out for these messages. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. Pitchers in the last time the Reds swept a doubleheader in San Francisco. Go back to the 1970s. Gully, Jim McLaughlin and Don Gullett, April 15th of 1973. And I got to believe that Chris Spires the only one that would have gotten that. It was the starting shortstop that year, 73 for the Giants. And a high and a hello to Gully down in Kentucky. Miss seeing Senor Goulet. Here's Casilla. Here's Brandon to the plate with 2 on, 2 out for the Reds. 5 runs, 8 hits for the Giants. 3 runs, 7 hits for the Reds. Reds have already left 8 stranded, and there are 2 more out there right now. Phillips bounced out, hit a looping liner to left that Pence dropped, and he reached on an error, and he popped out. Check swing. Backed him up and gets the out. The Reds strand 2 more. The Reds have stranded 10 through 6 and still trail it 5-3. 2 rough nights and 2 rough games got on the board early. Pablo Sandoval's double chases 2 home in the first. Hunter Pence followed with a single. And the Giants are off to a 3-0 lead in the first inning as Sandoval gets them rolling and Pence follows with the base hit. 3-0 Giants at the end of 1. They built that lead to 4-0, and then the Reds battle back against Barry Zito. With 2 on, Corky Miller lined one into the right field corner. 2 runs scored. Bruce scampered all the way home. Frazier followed him, and it was 4-2. And then another rocket shot off the bat of Todd Frazier. A triple, and Bruce perfect slide beats a perfect relay. And he's safe at the plate, 4-3. Back came the Giants to get another one to lead at 5-3, and that's where we are. Our Honda game summary. Here's Curtis Parch taking over for the Reds.
Yeah, the big right-hander from Merced, California, comes in for the 9th time, and you got to like his stuff. In fact, he's pitched very well his last few times out, unscored upon in his last 3 appearances, covering 5 innings. Fastball to about 95, 96. Got a nice split finger pitch.
Faces the second baseman Abreu in the number 2 spot here in the top of the 7th. And
there's a splitter right there. Gives it great arm action. I mean, he sells that just like a fastball. Baby comes out about 15 miles an hour slower.
Here's the 1-2. Waves at a high fastball, 97. Zippity-doo, that's out number 1 here in the 7th. If you're joining us late, just dialing around and wondering why we're in San Francisco and the Giants are in the road unis and the Reds are in the home unis, this is the makeup game from the July 4th rainout in Cincinnati. The Reds batting as the home team, even though this game will go into the books as a home game for the Giants. And right now, the Giants lead at 5-3. Here's Posey, hit by a pitch, scored in the first, bounced out, flied out. In the 5th, he hit a bullet to right center field that Bruce made a fine play on. It's a little off, swing and a miss at 85, and it's 0-2. Reds bullpen has been on the mark since the All-Star break and trying to keep it where it is right now, give them a chance to come back after winning game number 1 of the doubleheader 9-3 after winning last night 11-0. Final of the series tomorrow here in San Francisco. Mike Leake against Chad Godin. Dribbler down to short. Esturris has it. Posey's retired, 2 away.
Well, here's tonight's whiff brought to you by Head & Shoulders now with a hint of Old Spice. Let's go back to the only strikeout that Greg Reynolds picked up tonight. It was against Pablo Sandoval. He eventually gets him after a couple of pitches on the outer part of the plate, freezes him on an inside fastball. Pablo takes a look at that one. It is strike 3. Our whiff of the night brought to you by Head & Shoulders with a hint of Old Spice.
Reynolds 5 innings, 8 hits, 5 runs, all earned, a walk and that 1 strikeout. Here is Pablo. Sandoval's double played at 2 in the first, then that strikeout, then a single. This one hit deep to left center. There is Chu moving into position, and he'll haul it in. Good inning for Parch. 1, 2, 3. Reds back to work. Bottom of 7. Bruce will lead it off. Arrive early on Tuesday, August the 6th. Be one of 30,000 fans to take home a Joey Votto bobblehead presented by Formica. For tickets to see your Redlegs take on the A's, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or log on to reds.com/tickets. Hey, don't forget, after every Reds game, Fox Sports Ohio will break down the game. You'll hear from Dusty before anybody else. JD will be there tonight to wrap up Game 1 and Game 2 for you. Reds Live brought to you by Kings Honda and the Kings Auto Mall. Visit KingsHondaUSA.com. Back at San Francisco, the Reds trail in this one. They joined us late. Pablo Sandoval and Hunter Pence had RBIs in the first. Giants led 4-0. Reds have battled back little by little. It's a 5-3 deficit as we head to the 7th inning. Bruce, Frazier, Heisey due up to face Casilla, who got the final out of the 6th inning. Here's Jay. Bruce, game 1 of the doubleheader tonight, had a double, was hit by a pitch, stole a base in a 1-for-4 evening. Tonight he is singled, struck out, and singled. Zito started. Dunning, Harris, Casillas, the 4th pitcher of the night for Bruce Bochy, as the Giants try to cling to some kind of contact with the Dodgers at the top of the National League West. Right now they trail the Dodgers by 7 at this hour. Cardinals have won, Pirates have won, Reds right now 4.5 back. If they win, they'll be 4 back. If they lose, they'll be 5 back at the end of the night. 2 balls, 1 strike to the Reds right fielder. Setting up inside is Posey. A little giddy up at 91, and it's 3-1. Well, the difficulty that Giants starters have had, this bullpen has been often used, especially since the All-Star break. Their earned run average has gone up every month since April.
Well, the real fatigue probably hasn't set in yet. If you were to play the Giants and they keep up this pace of using their bullpen, I mean, you hit the wall sometime in the month of August. The fact that they're just coming off the All-Star break where they had some rest, even though they've been overused for the first 3 games out of that stretch, they've not been overused yesterday or today. And the back of the bullpen is still pretty dependable.
Swing and a miss for Bruce. Casilla gets the strikeout. Strikeout number 1 for him. And here comes Frazier. The Giants were in first place as late as the last week of May. And a lot of that had to do with his bullpen. They had an earned run average of 2.5 in April, just about 3 in May, and then in June it ballooned to 3.8, and again it's right about the 3.5 mark here in July. Frazier locked up for strike 1. Good movement on that 93-mile-an-hour fastball. Todd singled back in the 2nd and scored on the double by Miller. Bounced out, then he tripled in the Reds' 3rd run back in the 5th. That's a strike, says Phil Cuzzy, and it's 0-2. So Casillas come in throwing strikes.
Now, Casillas is a guy that missed a lot of this season already. He had a cyst on his knee, put on the disabled list toward the end of May, and he missed just about the entire month of June. Didn't come back here until just about 10 days ago.
A rocket into center. That's a base hit for Frazier. He's going to take a big turn and he's going to try for 2. Here comes the throw. It will not be in time. And another extra base hit for Todd Frazier. Single, double, triple for Frazier. He's in scoring position with 1 out in the 7th.
Well, as bad as Todd Frazier looked at the plate back in Cincinnati, he has looked that good here on this series so far against the Giants. Every time the Giants pitchers make a mistake up, he's there with a nice level swing to put the hammer to it.
Busting it out of the box, takes the turn and safe at second. So 1 out, runner in scoring position, and here's Heisey. Heisey pinch hit in the 5th and was hit by a pitch. This one blooped into right. Here comes Pence. There, got it, 2 away. Corky Miller due up, but they've called him back towards the dugout. And Xavier Paul has come out with bat in hand. So Dusty sensing as we get to 7 that a run here means a lot. Oh, wait a minute. They first brought out Paul, and now they bring him back at Mesoraco. They're going to have to put a catcher in anyway, so Dusty decided to go with Mesoraco instead of the left-hand bat Paul.
So Paul was never announced.
Never announced. They announced it in the press box, but Dusty held his hand up to Cuzzy as if to say no, no, no. So he never announced him, never pointed to him. So while Paul came out of the dugout, Dusty held his hand up looking at Cuzzy. So here comes Mesoraco. Mesoraco homered in game number 1, a 3-run shot. He's had 2 homers in the last 2 nights. He had a homer and 2 singles in the first game, 3 more hits for him. A bolt right here could knock this one up. Mesoraco facing Casilla for the first time. Off second is Frazier. And the other lefty in the Giants bullpen, Javier Lopez, has gotten up and started to loosen. He probably would not have been ready if they sent Paul up because he had not been up and throwing. Now, next time around, you know he'll be ready for Xavier Paul. 1 strike to Mesoraco. That just misses. Still left for the Reds, Derek Robinson and Xavier Paul on the bench among their regular position players. That's a strike 1 and 2.
Well, 3 pretty good pitches right there by Casilla. I mean, he's just trying to paint that outside corner. First couple of pitches were cutters. 1 a strike, 1 a ball, and then he throws that fastball right on the corner on the knees. Mesoraco's done a good job not to get himself out on a pitcher's pitch so far, but now he's got to expand the zone here with 2 strikes on him.
Here's a 1-2.
They hung a breaking ball to Frazier, and that's the pitch that Frazier had that double on. You wonder here on a 2-2 count if Posey may call that or whether they're going to stick with something hard on the outer part of the plate.
2-2. Sticks with the fastball at 94, fouled off. He'll try it again, 2-2.
Got a little run on it and got it in on him. You got to figure that Devin Mesoraco is feeling about as good as he ever has at the plate right now. You can almost see it in his body language. He's staying very athletic. He's keeping his knees bent. His head straight up and down, not tilting his head. So you're he's as locked in as I've ever seen him.
Key moment for the Reds. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Reds trail by 2. Frazier off second. They got it.
Chased a high one there.
At 94, out of the zone. Garcia gets out of the jam. The Reds strand 1. They've stranded 11 on the night. Trail 5-3. New 24-hour sports network, Fox Sports 1, will be your home for great live sports, all the news and highlights you want, and shows and specials that only Fox could bring you. America's new sports network, Fox Sports 1, coming August the 17th. I can see it now, the Chris Welsh show on Fox Sports 1.
I think Regis already has that one nailed down, George.
You and Regis would be a good team. Curtis Parch had a good 7th inning. He'll come back at the top of 8, facing Pence, Belt, and Francoeur. As Zoracco stays in the game behind the plate. So the Reds down to Derek Robinson and Xavier Paul left on their benches. We head to the final 2 innings with the Reds trailing by 2.
And we talked a little bit about Greg Reynolds, hometown guy here, getting a start in AT&T Park with all his friends and family around. Well, Merced, California, where Parch is from, is not too far from here. Just a little bit south and east of here, Merced, kind of on the way to Fresno. I imagine that Curtis Parch has his family and friends up to visit him here during this 4-game series.
Ball and a strike to Pence. Hunter singled in a run in the first, bounced out, and then singled to center in the 5th. Breaking ball misses, and it's 2-1. Very calm and peaceful night weather-wise here in the Bay Area. Wind predominantly on this day has been blowing out. It hasn't been a cool factor as it is some nights here in the month of July. Off the end of the bat, Parch has it. Flips it to Votto, and there's 1 away. Top of 8, and that'll bring up Belt. Full moon kind of night here in San Francisco. And so far, Jim Day has kept the seagulls away. Here's Belt, bounced out into a fielder's choice and then stole a base in the first. Bounced to second in the fourth and then plated a run on a ground out to make it 5-2 in the 5th. number 1 if you missed it. Tony Cingrani got the win. 118 pitches, 6 2/3. Allowed only 2 runs and 5 hits. This one nubbed towards second. The Gold Glover has it. Belt retired. 2 away. Eric Surkamp, the Cincinnati native, was the starter for the Giants, and the loser. He went 2 2/3 and gave up 9 hits and 7 runs. And here comes Frank Gore with 2 away in the 8th. Looking to the bottom of 8. Pitcher spot, 9th in the order, then top of the order due up for the Reds. About everything else is going final in Major League Baseball in the National League Central. Cardinals and Pirates have both been victorious on this night. Cardinals won 4-1 over Philadelphia. Pirates 5-2 over Washington. Dodgers came back, beat Toronto 10-9. Arizona beat the Cubs 10-4. Miami over Colorado 4-2. San Diego beat Milwaukee 6-2. And the Mets beat Atlanta 4-1. Houston won a game 5-4 over Oakland. It was the Yankees 5, Texas 4. Boston beat Tampa Bay 6-2. And the only game still going in the 9th. Anaheim now in the 10th. And Minnesota 3-3. That's a foul ball down the third baseline. Sawed him off. It stays foul. Frank Gore, 3 ground ball outs, 1 to second and 2 to short. This is the kind of park we talked about. Jay Bruce and Wright, Chris, kind of park that really can showcase the abilities of Jeff Francoeur too, huh?
Yeah, you're right. Anybody with the arm like Francoeur or Bruce, you're always going to get an opportunity to throw runners out because third base coaches send them more often in a big field like this.
1-2, waved that. And just did stay alive. Mesoraco couldn't hold on. Tried again, 1-2. Fair ball. Backhand and nice play over to first as Francoeur is retired for the 3rd ground ball of the night. Parch, good 2 strong innings. Frazier bails him out with that play. Reds need 2. back, Chris, you remember this day. It was the Pine Tar Day. George Brett at Yankee Stadium. Tim McClellan saying, no, it's not a home run. And boy, did George bolt out of the dugout, didn't he?
I don't think Tim McClellan had any idea that would happen. That is like somebody ignited a firecracker inside of George Brett.
There's Duke Wathen in the middle of it. Dick Hauser. The day to remember, wasn't it?
Boy, you're not kidding about that.
Dave
and
Roberts.
Now, you see
Leon.
some pine tar going up the bats like you would think that they would be in violation, but you never see that called anymore.
Trying to bunt his way on, and he will. Derek Robinson sneaks his way on to first. Good idea against the lefty, Javier Lopez, who comes in. So the Reds will bring the tying run to the plate, and the top of the order due up here in the bottom of the 8th.
Well, you got to love what Derek Robinson does as far as knowing what he can do, what his strengths are, and his strength is speed. They're going to give an error on the pitcher right there.
Wow.
That's a tough error because a pitcher left-hander, especially falling off towards third, got to upright himself and then go over and field that ball. Meanwhile, you got a speedster going down the line. That official scorer has never done that play before, I guarantee you.
Lopez,
it ain't easy.
One of 2 lefties in this bullpen. Back to the top of the order now. Here's Chu. Chu tonight flied out, struck out, walked, and walked. Now they've changed it to a base hit.
Maybe he has done it before.
He's listening. Short lead for Robinson. Chu slices it foul, a ball and a strike. Chu had his 60-game hitting streak stopped in game 1 of the doubleheader, and is hitless, although he's been on with the 2 walks here in game 2.
You would think that this is the inning. You get the leadoff hitter on number 9 spot. Now you turn the lineup over. This is the action inning that Dusty's looking for something to happen here in the 8th. We got the middle of the lineup coming up. Of course, if you're the Giants, you're thinking, all right, you got to try to go get Chu, get him out, and then maybe get a Scherzer into a double play ball and not have to face Votto with a man on.
Slap foul, a ball and 2 strikes.
Pretty good swing right there, though. He hung right in on that breaking ball. Lopez has always been tough on left-handers because he's got that really low arm action.
Looked like Chu was right on it. Aroldis Chapman up and loosening in the bullpen. Remember, Reds are the home team in this game. Well, they can take the lead here. Chapman ready to come on. Two balls, 2 strikes. A little bigger lead for Robinson down at first. Protecting with 2 strikes. Chu keeps it even, 2-2. Chu in his matchups with Lopez is 3 for 5. Dusty hoping he can duplicate that here. He got him right at the knees on the outside corner. Chu thought it was a little low.
Well, I think he read it as a breaking ball, thinking anything that low starting out is going to end up in the dirt by the time it gets to the catcher. And that's just a dandy of a pitch there by Javier Lopez. Lopez has never had a year in which he's pitched as many innings as games in which he's appeared. So he's always been one of those guys who would come in as a specialist, mainly to get the left-handed hitters out.
Well, here's his Sturris. Cesar tonight is lined out, grounded out, flied out, and popped up. 0 for 4. Trying to find a way to keep the inning going with Votto on deck. Down to third. Off Sandoval. Everybody's going to be safe. So the tying runs on, and that'll bring Joey Votto up.
Wow, wow. This is an opportunity here for the Reds you didn't expect to get. That's a double play ball all the way. If it's fielded cleanly by Sandoval, ball just comes up on him, gets away from him. By the time he's able to pick it up, Cesar Asturis is at first base, and now you've got Joey Votto at the plate. Very interesting here.
So here's Votto tonight. Walked, singled, flied out, and singled against Lopez, though he struggled. 0 for 6 in their previous matchups. Joey trying to keep it rolling here. 2 on, 1 out. They'll chase Robinson back to second. Votto walked in the first, was left stranded. With 1 out, he singled to left in the third. And he singled to center in the 6th. Breaking ball wide for ball 1.
Now that's a pitch that Javier Lopez pretty much neutralizes left-handers with, but it simply will not work as well on Votto as other lefties, because Votto excels in hitting that left-handed breaking ball. They're going to play him to hit the ball away too. Center fielder Blanco way around in the left center field gap.
Lopez hides the ball so well. You talk to hitters, especially left-handed hitters. He gives you a little bit of the hip, the leg, and then dips his shoulder. Very difficult. You pick the ball up late against him.
Now, there's a reason why he's been in over 600 games as a major leaguer and only pitched 400 innings, because he's in there to face lefties.
Ball and a strike. High in the air to left. Frank Coor will have room. The runners go halfway. Here's your pitch-by-pitch look at number 19's at bat, Chris.
Yeah, brought to you by Mazda, and it's a lefty on lefty right here. Javier Lopez is going to try to tease him with that breaking ball, pitch after pitch, and that's a fastball there, a 1-1 count, and just kind of gets underneath it. Does Joey Votto, and a very tough out, retired by Javier Lopez.
So with Phillips due up, Lopez gets his job done. Bochy will go back to the bullpen. We'll take time out for these messages. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio as Sergio Romo comes in. see right there they've left 11 on base here in the third game of the series, the second game of the doubleheader. They trail 5-3. Changes for the Giants. Blanco goes from center to left. Torres enters the game in center. The new pitcher will be Romo. He comes in for Francoeur. So it's Sergio Romo against Brandon Phillips with 2 out and 2 on for the Reds, who trail 5-3. Waves at that for a strike.
Yeah, this guy's a slider machine when he faces right-handers. He's got a good one. Great arm action. Throws a slider down and away. He's their closer. He's got 23 saves on the year.
Phillips, in his matchups against Romo, has had some success. 3 for 7 at 429. Brandon, on this day, bounced out, reached on an error, popped up, and grounded out. Robinson, good speed off second. Another slider, swing and a miss. Almost.
He gives you kind of a low arm angle, a low 3/4 angle. He starts at outer third, and then by the time it gets to the plate, it's off the dish.
The 30-year-old right-hander saved 22 of 25. Ahead 0-2 to Phillips. Tries to get him to go chase. It's wide, 1-2. Bunt hit by Derek Robinson as Sturris reached on the error. Those are the 2 base runners the Reds have. You can see he seldom walks a batter. Dusty hoping Phillips can deliver here.
He's also seldom pitched more than 1 inning at a time. But that's how important this game is to Bruce Bochy and the Giants.
He stays alive, just getting a piece of it. Fouled it off the shin guard of the catcher Posey. Brandon leading the Reds with 79 runs batted in. He's been among the league leaders in RBIs all season long, and been one of the league leaders with hitters and runners in scoring position for the Reds all year long. He's been the Reds RBI machine, and they need him to put 2 across the plate here. Here's the 1-2. Romo got him. Sergio Romo wins this battle. The Reds will strand 2. On this night, they have stranded 13 and trail 5-3 after 8. From San Francisco has been brought to you by Cincinnati Children's Hospital, which ranks 3rd in the nation in the United States News and World Report's 2013 Best Children's Hospitals for the 3rd year in a row. And by Chevy. Stop into your Tri-State Chevy dealer today and check out our full line of fuel-efficient vehicles. And a last reminder that Fox Sports Ohio is taking over the Reds ticket office tonight to see the best rivalry in the Central Division. You can get view-level tickets in select seating locations to every game against the Cardinals on August 2nd, 3rd, or 4th for just $15. The great battle goes on in the Central, and you can be part of it. Log on to Reds.com/FSOhio. Use promo code FSOH15 and order your view-level tickets against the Cardinals for $15 right now while supplies last. New pitcher for the Reds, Manny Parra, as we go to the top of 9. Look at his numbers over the last 16 games, Chris.
Yeah, you go all the way back to really the first week in June until you find a game in which he's given up a run. I mean, he has been really part of the resurgence of this Reds bullpen.
Here's Brandon Crawford. Doubled and scored a run in the second. Walked in the fourth and flied to right in the sixth. The Reds had their opportunities in this game so far. They've stranded 13. Unlike the first 2 games of the series, seemed like every time they get a runner in scoring position, they deliver. They're 1 for 13 with runners in scoring position in the second game of the doubleheader tonight. No balls, 2 strikes. Votto will take it himself, and there's 1 away. But Crawford's retired, and Chris, we talk about Lopez, how he hides the ball, and Parra's tinkered with his delivery over the years, and the way he turns his back to left-handers also makes it very difficult to pick it up.
Yeah, and he's also got really good stuff as far as separate pitches. He's got a nice fastball. He's got a good hard breaking ball. And I think he's pitching with as much confidence now as he's pitched with all year long. Dusty Baker has kind of shifted his roles a little bit. He's used him there as kind of a late inning left-handed only guy for the most part. And then you bring him in a game like this, you need to get him some work. But Parra's been better now than he has been all year long.
Here's Andres Torres, who came into the game last inning, his first at-bat of the night, hitting in the 9th spot. This has been a bullpen that has evolved all year long. Losing Jonathan Broxton, who was scheduled to be your 8th inning right-hander. Losing Sean Marshall, who was scheduled to be your go-to lefty against the big bat. It's been trial and error, and Parra has been one of the guys that's helped to solidify this pen. This will be a tough play. Frazier, bare hand, can't make it. Wouldn't have gotten Torres anyways. It was lickety split down the line. Even if he bare hands it cleanly, doubtfully get Torres. So an infield hit for the speedy center fielder.
You couldn't lay one down as a bunt a whole lot better than this. You've got the third baseman playing back, and it's a do-or-die play by Frazier. He's had a good series defensively, Frazier has. He's made plays down the line, plays in the hole, just unable to come up with that one. Would have been interesting, though, to see him field that ball and fire it over there in one motion to see how close it would have been.
1 out, 1 on. Back to the top of the order, Blanco. Bounced out, plated a run on a sacrifice fly, bounced into a fielder's choice, and then grounded out to second.
Good idea right there to throw over. This is a spot where the Giants really don't have much to lose. So they just may try to run Torres right here if he can get a jump.
You would identify Bochy and his running game as strategic a running game. He'll use the running game judiciously, not often, but in key situations like this.
Well, when you're up by 2 runs, even if you get thrown out, it's not that big of a hardship. But you'd love to get one more run on the board to separate yourself, make it a little bit easier on your closer. You can always be a little more aggressive when you're ahead than when you're behind.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Got a bigger lead this time.
Chase him back. Runner not going, and slap foul. Rocco peers into the bench. To Chris Spire, delivers his sign. To the stretch. Tara. Runner going. Foul back by Blanco. We'll try it again. 1 and 2. Runner not going this time. That's nub foul again. Great to watch the development of Mesoraco this year, Chris. I think in terms of calling the game, he's come so far from a year ago at this time.
Oh, you're right. I think a lot of that has confidence. I mean, he's always been a guy that has taken his job behind the plate very seriously, but it takes a little experience up here to be able to, you know, to take it from a reputation to until you have the other pitchers buying into it. Meaning you can act like you know what you're doing all you want, but until you're up here a while and actually catch, and you really become the captain of the ball team when you're the catcher. I mean, it's hard to come out of the minor leagues and do that in your first year.
Power to the stretch again, a little bigger lead down at first. Runner going. That's nub foul one more time. Torres getting his wind sprints in. He hasn't had enough action today with the doubleheader.
He just looks fast when he walks, doesn't he?
Mind you, one of our favorites, Ryan Friel, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Wired all the time.
Well, even a little bigger lead right now. A quick step-off move might be an idea here.
Biggest lead he's had so far. Going in the dirt, no chance here. 2-2, runner in scoring position with one away. So the Giants win that chess match. Torres picks up his fourth stolen base. He's been caught twice.
You better keep him close right here. You better have somebody in that infield keeping Torres close to second base, because if he gets a big enough lead, third base will be easier for him to steal than second base.
Runner on second. Mesoraco changes up the signs, and here's power to the stretch with Torres off second. spot, blocked by Mesoraco, and we're full 3-2. Got it. They went away. Finally locks him up inside for the second out. Another look.
Well, an extended at bat right there. Finally won by Manny Parra.
Here comes Abreu, the number 2 hitter. Tony tonight singled, scored in the first, bounced out, singled, scored in the 5th, and then struck out in the 7th. Breaking ball drops in there for a strike. And the Reds come up bottom of 9. Bruce due to lead it off. Frazier and Heisey due to follow. This loop to the right side, who'll get there? The pitcher Parra will, and infield hit, but Torres, no harm, no foul. Jay Bruce goes to the bat rack. When we return, Reds need 2. Hot dog game of the night. It came with Corky Miller at the plate. Line drive right center field. Brilliant play by Hunter Pence. Earlier he made an error, but boy did he make up for it with this play. That robbed Corky of extra bases, at least a double, maybe more. And that's been important in this game as the Giants lead by 2. Our John Morrell hot dog play of the night. So Romo will try to get a 2-inning save. He came in to get the final out of the 8th inning, and here we go to the 9th. Jay Bruce, then Frazier, then Heisey. Bruce 2 for 4, 2 singles, 2 strikeouts. Fouls it off for strike 1. Against Romo, Jay's 0 for 3. Talked about the ride to the postseason last year for the Giants. And this guy on the mound had as much to do with that as anybody. You mentioned Ryan Wilson, the former closer, and what he meant to this club when he went down. They bounced back and forth in the closer's role till this guy took over. And he's added energy. He's a fan favorite here and a clubhouse favorite too. Reds trying to get to him in the 9th. in a unique situation for Romo as the Reds bat in the bottom of the ninth in San Francisco. 1 ball, 1 strike. Show you how faithful this fan group is, looking at the list at the All-Star break of the best-selling jerseys. Sergio Romo's on the top 15 list. Who would have thunk it? This one looped into left. Good job by Bruce. Fooled twice, down and away. He loops this one into left. That'll bring the tying run to the plate. A leadoff base hit from Jay Bruce, his 3rd single of the night.
Yeah, 3 hits for Bruce tonight. He only had 1 hit in each of the other ball games. Of course, a home run and a double last night and the night before. But he takes the little pitch that goes down and away from him, and he takes it the other way. Same way he had a base hit that way against the starter Barry Zito.
Well, here's Frazier, a single and 2 doubles, 3 for 4 on the night. Breaking ball misses.
Well, that's the pitch you want to hang right there to Todd Frazier. I mean, it's a tough matchup for Frazier because Romo's got the ability to kind of expand the strike zone with that slider down and away.
He's facing Romo for the first time. That drops in there for a strike.
And now you get him aware of it, and if you're Romo, you want to throw it a little bit more outside and then even a little bit farther outside.
This Heisey on deck for the Reds. Cincinnati trying to rally in the ninth against the Giants.
For Frazier, you're looking for a hanger.
Fastball hits the inside corner. Take a look.
For a closer, an 87-mile-an-hour fastball isn't much, but he's got nice action on it. It moves almost opposite of a slider right there. That's how much movement his fastball has, and he'll probably come right back with the slider off the plate here. Came right back inside.
A lot of pitchers can have closer stuff, never have the aptitude, the mental discipline, and the guts to be a closer. This guy doesn't necessarily have closer stuff, but he's got the other components. Finds a way to get you out. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Frazier digs in. Good hold on that, just missing. 2-2. As Heisey awaits in the on-deck circle. Back in again, or breaking ball away. Frozen. Second strikeout for Romo. They get Frazier. Here comes Heisey.
Boy, after getting him thinking about that slider, I mean, with the first one that he threw, he never really came back to it again. That's just good pitch management by Posey or Romo, whoever's calling the shots out there. And I imagine it's Posey.
Here's Heisey. 0 for 1 against Romo. That breaking ball drops in there. Heisey came on in the 5th, was hit by a pitch, and then flied out in the 7th. So 0 for 1 officially. Waves at that, way out in front, 0-2. Mazzaracco in the on-deck circle for the Reds. Posey setting up, down and away. Protecting with 2 strikes. Fouls off. Pitch probably out of the strike zone. Bruce still anchored at first. He led off the inning with a base hit. Almost looked like Heisey was trying to find a way to dance into it, not away from it. Couldn't get his legs to match his head. After the one that low bridged you, understandable, huh? He just missed getting domed when he was hit by a pitch on the bill of his helmet. 1-2. Way outside, and he gets him. Back-to-back strikeouts and 3 strikeouts in the 4 batters he's faced. Our Nissan drive of the game today. He came in game 1 of the doubleheader, a 3-run home run from Devin Mesoraco. That gave the Reds an early 4-1 lead. Mesoraco, second home run in 2 days. Dusty'd love to see him add one right here. Big swing, and Romo has the Reds baffled here in the 9th inning. Mesoraco facing Romo for the first time. He came on in the 7th and struck out, his second at bat of the night.
Well, that is a nasty looking slider.
And it reminds you of Mike Williams. Remember the slider machine? One after another. Same spot, down and away. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Sellout crowd of over 42,000. Hoping the Giants can close out the Reds for their first win in this series. One and 2. That kicks away. Bruce will go to second. And the count evens at 2 and 2. Wild pitch charged against Romo. So Bruce sitting at second. That actually allows Belt down at first to drop back, play deep, wide of the bag at first. 2-2. Well, Romo comes on, and boy, does he do the job. He strikes out 4 of the 5 batters he faces, gets the final out of the 8th, strikes out the side in the 9th. Casilla will get the win. Romo will get a save. And the Giants have taken the first game of this series. The Reds took the first 2, and this is the first win for San Francisco in the 3rd game of the series, 2nd game of the doubleheader. As the Reds strand another, they were 1 for 14 with runners in scoring position. And Chris, after 2 games where they sprayed hits all over the ballpark, 1 for 14 told the story of this game.
Well, it's obvious to me, George, that the Reds play better in this ballpark as a visitor than they do as the home team. Simple as that. That and the fact that they didn't drive the runs in when they had an opportunity. And, you know, the Giants were needing a win very badly. They had to go to just about everybody that they could use in that bullpen, and they just kind of hung on to this one. They've got one more big game tomorrow, and the Reds hopefully will be able to take that and get back on their winning way.
Bruce Bochy gets some high fives, and he'll get some handshakes because it took him 4 games to do it, but sitting on 1,499 victories. Gets a pat on the back from Hensley Mullins and Mark Gardner as he now gets the ball too. Romo gives him the ball as Boch has picked up win number 1,500. He trails only Jim Leyland and Dusty Baker among active managers with that 1,500th victory. So special night for Bruce Bochy. The Reds end up with a split. Chris, you know that's the story. Very difficult to sweep a doubleheader, and we'll talk more about it on the post game, because coming up next, JD and Reds Live post game, sponsored by Kings Honda.